Welcome back. So yesterday, Palantir held its Apollo event that lasted about 18 minutes. They called it the Apollo Demo Day, but they also released a Foundry demonstration as well to make up for what many perhaps considered an underwhelming demonstration, at least in terms of the length. So currently we have Palantir sitting at about $11 a share. That puts it at under a 14 times trailing 12-month revenue multiple, just to point that out. Another thing I wanted to touch on is the fact that since ARK Invest sold Palantir stock, it has outperformed by about 30%. This is PLTR over ARK-K. We see a large outperformance, but of course, Palantir stock as a whole caught up with the rest of the NASDAQ and a lot of the other growth stocks in terms of their direction and where they have been headed. So I checked on Bloomberg to see if there was any analysis in terms of Wall Street analysts covering the Apollo Demo Day. Don't see any of that. Saw an interesting Q1 preview, but I will get into that in a future video. So in terms of what I thought about the event, initially I thought, well, this just could have been a regular video release. You know, we got the Investor Day, Demo Day, Double Click. Those were all significantly longer. They were info dense and deserving of sending out invites. Like you see, Palantir still even promoting it on their website, the Apollo Demo Day, which was on the 27th. They say capacity is limited, sort of hyping this event up. Not that it was disappointing in terms of what was announced and shown as well, but more so, this was not necessarily a demonstration day, if you were to call it that. So there's a couple quotes from Shyam Sankar, Palantir COO. He said, "Software delivery is an existential problem, and Apollo will be the backbone of how we deliver our software over the next 60 years. Also talking about how many others will be delivering their software with Palantir's Apollo product." So I'm going to play a couple of my favorite clips from the Palantir Apollo demonstration, and I'll be back with some more analysis.
And it is painfully clear that the software delivery and management, i.e. the software supply chain, it is an existential issue for modern enterprises. We can attest to the utility and efficacy of Apollo by simple virtue of the fact that we use it to deploy our own software. Apollo manages, deploys, and maintains Foundry and Gotham worldwide, supporting mission-critical work across some of the most challenging remote environments imaginable. From satellites to submarines, high-side networks to Humvees, and of course, every flavor of cloud and on-prem, Apollo manages software across more than 250 distinct customer environments. It is what enables us to deliver and meet our moment.
Teams should be able to ship new features and capabilities as soon as they're ready, instead of having to be slowed down and wait for a weekly, monthly, or quarterly release schedule that is determined by the slowest mover or your ability to QA the platform. So from the very beginning, Apollo was built to address these intrinsic problems that come with distributed systems by allowing the software engineer teams to encode the preconditions and the expectations of their software next to the code itself. The second principle, a software developer shouldn't need an in-depth understanding of the environment or infrastructure system that their software will be run in order to build capabilities that power world-class software. The third principle is making it possible to deploy software where it is needed by enabling software platforms to be repeatable, reproducible, and portable across cloud providers and infrastructure types. And the final principle, effectively managing software in production, extends beyond the simple act of deploying a piece of software and depends on the active collaboration of software developers, operators, security, and compliance teams. If we've learned anything over the last few years, software supply chain security and related problems are not going away.
The world that we're deploying software into today is much more dynamic than it was even a few short years ago. And that dynamism is only increasing. Apollo was built to manage software at scale and pace, delivering further, faster, and more efficiently than ever before.
All right, so here's a news release I want to dig through. Palantir unveiled a new suite of products available within Palantir Apollo, the operating system for autonomous software development across environments. So Apollo has managed the deployment, security, and upgrades for Palantir software, those being Foundry and Gotham, introducing 500 plus independently released microservices across 300 plus unique environments. Palantir Apollo provides a collaborative environment for everyone in the software deployment and management lifecycle, from developers to operators to DevOps and platform engineering teams to security, quality, and compliance professionals. We'll get more onto the TAM for this product in a moment. It enables these software engineering teams to encode the preconditions and the expectations of their software next to the code itself, and enables non-linear rollout processes across complex deployment targets. So Not entirely sure what all of this technical jargon means, but I want to give just a little more to you now. Autonomous deployment, that basically means managing advanced upgrades and safe rollbacks and more. Cloud portability, that's enabling organizations to maintain flexibility across cloud providers. And the air-gapped environment management is essentially intelligently bundling and only sending out what is needed across the network boundaries. Just trying to share some of the features here. Software catalog is about unifying the dependencies, control center, understanding what is running where and whether it's healthy, to remediating issues, to specifying environment constraints and more. This was Palantir's release just to explain what they had gone over with the Apollo demonstration. So now just for a little more, we had CodeStrap doing an interview with the Palantir Apollo chief architect who talked about Palantir Apollo's TAM, a major increase in the TAM for Palantir. So we're looking at a write-up from Christian Darton from dartons.com. So there are two main ways in which Apollo can increase Palantir's TAM: through bringing Palantir's software as a service to any environment, and through bringing customers software as a service to any environment. Okay, so we've seen this before in Palantir's 2021 business update, their Q4 earnings report and conference call. They released this slide from the slide deck, really showing how the TAM expansion is going to happen later on for Apollo versus the other two. Of course, Gotham coming first in 2013, and then we have Foundry coming into play around 2016, and Apollo much more recently, 2019 or so, and expanding well beyond. Sky computing is focused on the fact that often a singular cloud is not enough, and sometimes the whole sky is needed for cloud infrastructure. The development of a way to join several cloud infrastructures together into one massive cloud would be necessary for those who utilize large compute resources. So essentially, we're looking at the interoperability between clouds. So this Cloud 2.0 leverages data and AI in combination with SaaS to make better decisions and gain better insights. So Industry 4.0 is the new industrial revolution: smart factories, AI technologies, data usage. So Palantir believes its products are going to make Industry 4.0 a reality. Previous industrial revolutions include the first revolution, steam power, steel treatment; second revolution, emphasis on electricity, combustion engines; and the third revolution, nanotechnology, biotech, recycling. Palantir mentions how they plan to bring the physical and digital, human and machine together, and these technologies will be used in manufacturing to make Industry 4.0 a reality. And what's so fundamental about Industry 4.0 is the cloud. On Industry 4.0, Palantir talks about the importance of the cloud as a pillar for the future of Industry 4.0. The fact that the cloud will enable data sharing across sites, and for companies to deploy machine learning and analytics in the cloud, therefore enabling more data-driven services for their production systems. So if you head over to CodeStrap's channel, you can watch the full interview with the Apollo chief architect. All right, that's where I'll leave it for now. I've got my Q1 preview coming up. Until next time.